27 days into the 7th month of the year 2020. Lovely evening and welcome to today's episode of the News Report. To present it, my name is SALIFYANJI. BWEUPE. If you're watching us right now, you are catching us on your Top Star Decoder channel 112, as well as our Facebook live feed, which is live TV, and our YouTube channel, which is live TV channel as well. If you have any comments, contributions, and feedback onto the show, please send your messages to 0976 599 547 as well. We take a look at the stories that are making headlines this evening. Miles Sampa, LCC, suspended for 3 months. National Assembly COVID-19 test results highly suspicious, says Mwetwa. And entrepreneurship, the next big thing, says Sinkamba. And North Korea declares emergency over first reported COVID-19 case. To get into the details of the news, we get to the first story, and that is to do with the Minister of Local Government Housing, Charles Banda, suspending Miles Sampa, and also the Kitwe City Council mayor as well. So in this report, the Minister of Local Government Housing, Charles Banda, has suspended Miles Sampa for 3 months, citing irregularities in land allocation. Dr. Banda has also suspended the Kitwe City Council with immediate effect. Speaking during a briefing this morning, joined by his counterpart from Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Jane Kapatan, Dr. Banda said the suspension is meant to pave way for the investigations and an audit into illegal allocations of land. He says illegal land allocation will not be tolerated by anyone. Dr. Banda has since revealed that administrators will be appointed this week. And Ms. Kapata says her ministry has also withdrawn Circular Number 1 of 1985 from the Lusaka and Kitwe City Councils until an audit is carried out to address the current illegalities. The minister said the job of councillors is to offer services to the people and not to allocate land. She added her ministry is also reviewing the 1985 circular to ensure it is up to date. Last week, the two ministers toured land in Emersdale area in Material constituency following an altercation between Material Member of Parliament Lloyd Kazia and Ward Councillor Annie Chinyanta. The findings indicated that the land is an active access road and not suitable for intended extension or development. The temporary permit granted to install a trading container on Vuba Road Reserve under Zesco pylons has been revoked, and the erection of the container has been stopped. We take a look at this clip.
I wish to announce now that I've suspended the Lusaka City Council for 3 months to give us chance to correct the ills that are in that council. May I also announce that I have with immediate effect suspended Kitwe City Council so that we are able to go in and correct the ills. And I'm hoping that in that 3 months, as we try to put things correct, our friends are going to have an introspection and come back as better councillors and civic leaders in those very, very important institutions. Apart from that, let me also send a warning to other councils that are in this habit of perpetually wanting to be on the wrong side of the law, that we're not going to spare anybody. There's no sacred cow in this. We may come back soon, should these activities persist in other councils, to do the same, suspend them and correct issues there, and ensure that things are done in an orderly manner. So these suspensions are with immediate effect for 3 months, and within this week I'm going to appoint administrators, 1 for Lusaka and 1 for Kitwe.
So having said that, I also want to add that as Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, we are withdrawing our agency, the agreement that we had under Circular 1 of 1985 from Lusaka City Council and Kitwe City Council for 3 months until further notice. We need to do an audit in those districts, in these districts, towns, to see to it that sanity is brought. We also want to take an audit to see that to it that most of the illegality is corrected. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources gave land agency to local authorities, and this was done through a circular, through Circular Number 1 of 1985. And this circular has outlived its cause. This is why, as a ministry, we are reviewing the circular so that we can bring it to the current time where we are. I also want to take this opportunity to caution all our provincial land officials in the provinces not to endorse illegality. Before they can endorse to start preparing for title, they must be able to go on the ground and verify that those pieces of land are available for allocation.
So that was a clip from the local government and housing minister, that is Dr. Charles Panda, as well as Jean Kapata, also, who is the minister in charge of housing. So anyway, pertaining to this Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, So I just wanted to just give a brief comment pertaining to this particular story. Land disputes have, been going on for such a long time, and I feel that to this point where the government has to interfere is it's really a good move, so that there's some kind of like sanity that is restored into the way that the law is being applied in each and every sector. Otherwise, also, I would like to add that I wish, the same way where when something or someone does something wrong, there's some kind of application of the law that is done, towards trying to correct the wrong thing that has been done. I think in every ministry should one thing that should have been taken into consideration as well. This is to do with I feel sometimes we may feel there's a selective application when it comes to the law, but that's just another story for another day. And just also to give explain briefly on what Ms. Kapata mentioned in her statement of withdrawing the circular. So what it is that the land, that Zambian land is owned by the president of Zambia, and it's administered to him, to handle various legislations to do with the land. However, the president cannot manage to be in each and every, part of the country. So he delegates someone to administer the handling of or administration of the land also. So the delegation is given to the council public officer to execute duties of the commissioner of lands. So the circular also states that the district council should participate in the administration of land. So that is one, to process applications, select suitable candidates, and also make recommendations. But if those recommendations that are made are not really in line or would cause injustice or would be contrary to the national interest or public policy, then obviously, an upper hand has to come in and do what they need to do in this particular case. And also, if you followed the story that was circulating on social media, where there was an altercation between the minister and also the member of parliament, that's Lloyd Kazi, and the ward councillor Annie Chinyanta, it was said that they could not really have a sit-down meeting and just try to talk through what was happening. It's unfortunate that people's voices had to be raised, or it's unfortunate it had to get to the point where we see two mayors being suspended for a period of time as well. And one would would question or ask why the MP would have the authority over an elected mayor of the land. Well, the act stipulates that the land or the minister has got the powers to do what he has done right now. And as you have seen, obviously, on social media also, the mayor himself, Mao Sampa, has decided to just go and work on what he needs to work on, as the minister stated, so that he could come back and work towards any issue that could be surrounding surrounding, the city council also, so that it could be worked out in a more accountable manner as well. So we'll go on a break, and when we come back, we have an interview. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. You are watching News Report with me, SALIFYANJI BWEUPE. So before we went on a break, we're discussing the expulsion, or the suspension, apologies, for the suspension for the Lusaka and Kitwe city mayors following a land dispute that was held some time back, and so the decision was, reached by the lands minister as well. So in the next story, related story, the suspended Lusaka City Council Mayor Sampa has dispelled reports circulating on social media that the city has introduced a levy for wheelbarrow carriers after it issued a notice to all wheelbarrow businesses to register. Reports on social media interpreted the notice to mean that the government has introduced a wheelbarrow tax requiring all wheelbarrow pushers in town and markets to register their wheelbarrows and pay tax to the city council of 20 kwacha every month, in addition to the 3 kwacha every day they pay to the market committee. However, Mr. Sampa said that he had a discussion with the LCC town clerk, Mr. Alex Monsa, on his circular on wheelbarrow registrations, and that the factual position is as stated in his circular, that the council will register all wheelbarrow businesses for security reasons, given increased complaints received in markets from marketeers that their hired wheelbarrow carriers disappear with their goods. The mayor said that the registration is therefore meant for the accountability and transparency purposes for those conducting business in markets and bus stations in the city. So this is according to a post on his Facebook page. A story went viral on social media where all Zambian wheelbarrow pushers in town and markets will now be required to register the wheelbarrows and pay tax to the council every month. Every wheelbarrow will be required to pay 20 kwacha every month to the city council and then pay 3 kwacha every day to the market committee. So the calculation would be 3 by 30, that is 90, plus 20, which is 110 every month. So the suspended Lusaka City Council Mayor has, however, denied that he has asked the wheelbarrow businesses to actually pay an extra 20 kwacha for their business as well. So this is, the cons of, social media. It turns to twist stories, even something that was straightforward will be twisted and made, to be something that could really cause a lot of tension and also some very uncomfortable negative thoughts from the public as well. So the only thing that the minister or the Lusaka City Council Mayor was trying to do in this particular case is support the marketeers and their businesses as well. It's possible that yes, through people carrying a wheelbarrow, people carrying their goods would, take them somewhere else, or they would steal their goods. So it's possible to have this in place for accountability sake as well. And obviously the Lusaka City Mayor also mentioned that this is to do with, when it comes to transparency of conducting businesses as well. Everyone needs to have a credible business. Everyone needs to work with people that are going to be honest and trustworthy with how they conduct their businesses as well. So yes, the part where the wheelbarrows have to pay the 3 kwachas every day, to run their businesses to the city council, that much I feel is still a good idea, because everyone needs to contribute. There's some things to do with cleaning the markets, providing sanitation also. And now that we are in a COVID-19 pandemic, obviously we need to ensure that every place is being maintained. And the only way that the maintenance would, be ensured is through everyone participating. So the marketeers and obviously other business owners that are around the premises of the local markets as well will be able to pay those levies to ensure that there is maintenance of the markets as well. Now, in our next story, the UPND Deputy National Spokesperson Cornelius Muitwa says there is need for UPND members of Parliament to seek a second COVID-19 testing, as the one conducted by the National Assembly has proven unreliable. Mr. Muitwa, who cited the case of Kembe UPND MP Princess Kasune, who tested negative during the parliamentary testing but was found positive when she sought a second opinion at UTH, as highly suspicious. Mr. Muitwa, who is also Choma Central Member of Parliament, has since advised his fellow parliamentarians to seek a second opinion to avoid being caught unaware, as he calls on Chief Government Whip Brian Mundubile to stop behaving like a drunken carder. He says the UPND received a statement attributed to Mr. Mundubile alleging that the UPND was celebrating the outbreak of COVID-19 in the country and death of 2 lawmakers, not only cheap but also worth the status the government whip is occupying, not with the status the government whip is occupying. He wondered how Mr. Mundubile could make such insinuations against UPND, whose membership has also fallen victim to the pandemic, with its leader Hakainde Hichilema consistently calling for measures to stop the spread of the virus, which has become a global health problem. Mr. Moito has since called on the chief government whip to at least preserve the decorum of the office he is holding and avoid being the peddler of lies. This is according to a statement issued by the CIC press team. Just a brief comment pertaining to this particular story, not the actual story as well, but I do understand that we might get to a point where maybe the country could, run or have a shortfall when it comes to testing kits. Now we are recording so many numbers and so many people are getting tested right now, and some I'm sure are just, doing it as an obligation to protect other people as well. And so there could be a possibility that due to the rise in numbers and the weather as well changing, there could be a possibility that we may get more cases, and it's possible to have very few testing kits available as well. But I do feel that the government will ensure that, at least, every test that is being done, results will be given to the people that have been tested in good time. I do feel like it is a challenge right now, because instead of taking a few hours or days to get the results, I think for some people it's taking longer than expected. And from what I've heard so far, when it comes to, just doing follow-up on people that have tested positive in the past, or that did, the test before and have not received the results as well, I think we are lagging behind in terms of just doing the necessary, follow-ups that are supposed to be done. So I feel that the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with other institutions as well, should ensure that at least they're able to do follow-ups and just find out, and those people that have not received their test, or be able to quickly respond to any suspicions of COVID, because most of the deaths that we've had or recorded so far are COVID-related deaths as well. So we certainly hope there will be enough test kits to test everyone in the country. Before we get into our next story, we'll go on a commercial break and we'll come back with more after this. Stay tuned. welcome back. You are watching News Report with me, SALIFYANJI BWEUPE. And I did mention earlier that we're going to be having an interview. And so this is a telephone interview, and we're talking to Mr. Prince Seleta, the Membership Director for the Zambian Hemp Growers and Industries Association. So before we get into this particular interview, the Zambian Hemp Growers and Industry Association says the country will soon experience a revolution of million youths and hempreneurs. Countrywide, once the state-of-the-art technology and technological innovations are put in place starting September this year. So the Zambia Hemp President and Chief Executive Officer Peter Sinkamba told the Standard Times during the week that Zam Hemp will focus on high-value agriculture through hemp industrialization and will utilize existing and upcoming agriculture and medicines legalization to conform and comply with the Zambian laws and policies. So, Mr. Prince Seleta, welcome to News Report.
For the listeners and those who are watching.
Sure thing. So, first of all, we would like to understand, what is hemp?
Okay. Hemp is under the umbrella of cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Hemp is a type of cannabis which has less than 0.2% of THC.
Mm-hmm.
The THC is a tetrahydrocannabinol, which is a psychoactive component found in the cannabis plant.
Sure.
And just to give a brief background, hemp is a plant with a long history actually globally.
Mm-hmm.
It has the strongest fiber in the plant. You can't find any strong fiber compared to hemp.
Mm-hmm.
So it was used extensively by European fleets for ship construction, ropes, sails, and for the clothing of their crews.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the uniforms for soldiers.
Sure.
Yes, they use actually hemp to dress their soldiers.
Okay.
And the variety of hemp, which is a cannabis sativa, comes with the high and low psychoactive levels, but has been cultivated throughout recorded history for its industrial fiber, feeds, food, medicines, and for recreation and spiritual enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
And this plant is you don't throw away anything actually. Everything from the roots, the stem, and just the leaves. You use everything actually. You don't throw away anything.
Okay.
Just talk about the hemp plant, just a little.
Okay, so you've explained that the hemp is some type of cannabis. So many would want to find out, what is the difference between a hemp and marijuana?
Okay, marijuana, this is the type of cannabis which has over 0.2% of THC, the tetrahydrocannabinol, the psychoactive component. This is the component which gets people high when they smoke marijuana. They get high because of that component found in the same plant, which is THC. But in hemp, it's very low actually. Even if you were to smoke the whole field, even if you were to smoke the whole bag of it, you can't get high because of the THC. It's very low actually in the hemp, and then in the marijuana it's over 0.2%. That's why people get high. So that is the difference. But it's even the way they grow actually, you can tell by looking. Hemp goes up, and then marijuana grows like a bush.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now I wanted to also find out, in December of last year, that is 2019, the cultivation of cannabis was made legal. Oh, right? Hello?
Oh, yes. You went a bit low.
I'm saying in December of 2019, the cultivation of cannabis was made legal. Was this also associated with marijuana as well?
Okay. Like I said earlier, marijuana and hemp actually belongs to the same family,
Okay.
which is cannabis.
Sure.
So when people always think that hemp is the marijuana.
Okay.
And yes, but Zambia is one country which has been importing cannabis hemp products actually. It's just that people, because of our ignorance, we are not able to tell that this is cannabis. Where when the term is used like a hemp, I'll give an example of Indian hemp.
Sure.
I'm sure maybe you have heard of Indian hemp.
Yes, for the hair.
Used for the hair and shampoo. Those shampoo, about 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, we used to have a lot of shampoos in our Zambian shops.
Right.
Yes, shampoo, they come from the same, actually, from the same hemp. That's why even the Indians came up with that formula of what they call Indian hemp. And if you go to, those supermarkets, you'll be able to find the hemp oil from the seeds, from the cannabis hemp seeds. Yes. So we have been using these products from this plant. Now, because of the term, which is the hemp,
Yes.
we didn't pay attention to that, and we use those products very freely. But if we use the term cannabis, it brings up a lot of questions.
Right.
Because, cannabis, the way we know it, people associate it to smoking.
Right.
So, actually, hemp has we have always been using hemp products in Zambia. And the only challenge we had was with the marijuana, because of its psychoactive component, which is THC, because of it's very high. So the time they legalized the cannabis marijuana, because the hemp is also in that family.
Okay.
And the hemp has always been used. So hemp has always been legal.
Okay.
Yes, hemp has always been legal because we have been using this product. Now it's just that people, because of the ignorance, we didn't actually know that the hemp we are talking about, even the canvas, the term canvas, in Zambia we have been using canvas ever since some of us were born. We have found this country importing canvas.
Right.
But the term canvas comes from cannabis.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so we have been using these products, just that we didn't know that these products are actually coming from this plant, which we have demonized for a very long time now.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to economic benefit, how can we compare it? How special is it as compared to maize and other conventional plants as well?
Okay. With hemp, this is the most the highest, actually, it has the highest value when it comes to crops. And you find that with maize, I'll give you an example. I'll give you this practical example. From maize, if you say you cultivated, let's say, 1 hectare of maize, you will be able maybe to have, let's say, maybe 40 to 50 bags. So we just say 50 bags. And if you were to sell those bags, you find that you just make something like 7,000 kwacha. And that is almost the amount that you put in. But with hemp, 1 hectare, the same size, you find that the same 1 hectare can give you not less than 5,000 t-shirts.
Right.
These are high quality t-shirts. And if you were to sell these same t-shirts, you'll be able to make over 300,000. And you find again that hemp, it's the only crop actually, the cannabis hemp, it's the only plant actually which can feed you, house you, clothe you, and heal you. You can produce, you can make medicines from the hemp plant, the cannabis hemp plant. And just medicines alone, this is an industry which can employ not less than, in Zambia, not less than 100,000 people, because, at some point we all get sick and the medicines are in need.
Right.
People can't do without the medicines. So this is one important industry. Again, you find that with the same hemp, the clothing itself, this is another big industry. There will be no time that will come when people start wearing clothes. So this is one big industry again. Again, we have the paper industry. People use papers every day. Right. So this is another big industry. And just to add on the medicinal aspect, this is an industry which can generate not less than $15 billion for this country, and you find that you can't make that from maize. Already from copper, we can say we make about $5 to $6 billion annually. But from this medicine, the medicinal industry alone, we can generate not less than $15 billion. And the money that is being used actually to import these medicines can be kept within the country. And you'll find that by exporting the same medicines, we'll be bringing more dollars to this country. Hence, the value of our local currency will be strengthened.
Right.
And once you have a strong kwacha, its prices for all commodities actually that will come down. You see, the benefits will trickle down to the common man.
Right.
And the same hemp, you can actually also have the biofuels. Petrol and diesel can be produced from the same. This is another big industry. This is an industry which can employ not less than 200,000 people in Zambia, and in Zambia not less than $3 billion. So it's money that we are talking about here. It's making serious money. We can't always be importing fuel.
Sure.
Unless we have got this hemp, And the same hemp actually, you can also use it for, like I was giving an example earlier, I was giving an example of Indian hemp. We can use it for cosmetics. This is another big industry. In Zambia, we're exporting jobs and money. Just to bring in these cosmetics, this country is spending quite a lot actually. And you'll find that we are creating jobs for those people out there. You see?
Right.
So if we can import the Indian hemp, what would be wrong about the Zambian hemp?
That's true. Okay, now in terms of...
Yes.
Sure. So in terms of...
And, I haven't just finished.
Okay.
So this crop actually, you can produce more than 50,000. We can make more than 50,000 products.
Right.
So hemp has the high yielding potential. It has the high agronomic and environmental attributes. You find that it doesn't require pesticides. You see, it requires actually, if at all you need pesticides, it's very few pesticides that will be required. And with its deep rooting, it survives well in dry conditions.
Right.
Because it goes very deep, so it will bring up all the nutrients from the deep in the soil. Hence, it is an excellent rotation crop.
Okay.
So you'll find that the benefits are actually many. There are many. So that's just about just to say a few about the benefits of this crop and comparing it to other crops like maize.
Okay. Now I'd like to also understand, how will the processing be done? Do we have a necessary machinery that's required to actually process all of these benefits or products that are going to come from the hemp, the crop itself?
Okay. What we have done as an association, we are bringing everyone actually together. The Zamhemp, the Zambian Hemp Growers and Industry Association is bringing everyone together. Those with farms, when you look at our application form, those with farms actually they can just click on farms. Those with the equipment, they will click on equipment. We have got, because this is not just for, it's not restricted to Zambians alone. We have got foreigners who have come on board. Some are taking on training. Like we have got, the story that came out in the Sunday Times yesterday. The Czech Republic, they are coming for training.
Okay.
We have got the people, from the states who are coming with equipment, and those banks with the financial muscle actually they can also come on board. They have got space actually in the association. We also have space for those who just want to provide seeds.
Okay.
You see, so this is an association which is just bringing everyone together. When you become a member of Zambian, there's no need to be worried about where will I get the capital, where will I get the machinery, where will I get they will be distributing for me, because we are bringing everyone on board. Just like in football, teams don't worry about who are we going to play against this coming weekend. Fans, it's there. The association, the Football Association of Zambia is there to do that for them.
Sure.
And the Zambians are just encouraged actually just to
Okay. So, in the meantime, once you're still doing all the necessary consultations and trying to collaborate with a lot of entities and independent people, is it open for any individual that would like to also get or venture into the hemp business as well, especially the
this is very
youth?
much open. Right now, we are at the stage where we're just getting members. We are registering members, those who are interested. It's very open. We have got different categories, actually. We have got 7 categories. There is corporate, there is fellow, there is emeritus, there is group, there is associate, there is ordinary member, there is also honorary fellow.
Okay.
So we haven't left anyone out. Everyone actually will find a space for them in the ZAM association.
Okay. And will all of these people that want to collaborate need to get their own licenses, or they'll be covered under ZAMHEMP?
Okay. There are some that will be those who don't have farms, for example. Those
Okay.
who don't have farms, because as an association, we start cultivation begins in October.
Okay.
But for those who don't have farms and they are very much interested in the cultivation, they can work under the same association. Then those who have got farms, the association is going to help them actually get licenses. But the first thing is they have to be trained. You can't license, you can't help someone get a license, somebody who is not trained.
Sure.
People have to first become members, and then they have to be trained. So
Okay.
after training them, that's when now we'll help them get these licenses.
Okay. So, Mr. Sinkamba mentioned that the National Training Institute Research Center has been set up. Where exactly has it been set up, and how long is the training?
Okay, the training, I think for that one, because we have got the eHemp House Zambia. If you have heard about the eHemp House Zambia, they are the ones in charge of the training. So that one, I wouldn't want to answer on their behalf. Like
Right.
I said, that ZAMHEMP Association is just bringing all partners actually together.
Right.
So there are those who are involved in the training. Others it's the equipment. Others it's just different categories. But for training, it's the eHemp House, and that they'll be in charge of that department. So they are the best actually to answer that one.
Okay.
But yes.
All right. So now, in conclusion, what is the general outlook for hemp growing in Zambia in the years to come?
The hemp industry is actually growing. Each and every day they are just the products that can come from this plant actually are just being discovered each and every day. So in the next few years, like by 2027, the industry will triple actually. It will become very big.
Right.
So we just have to make sure that we tap into that before others actually do it.
Right.
And right now I can confirm that we are even delayed. We have delayed a lot because the industry is growing at a very fast rate, and we just have to take advantage of the country and make sure that our people benefit from this plant called cannabis.
Right. Any concluding remarks before we let you go?
Okay, my concluding remarks, I'm encouraging Zambians, because most of the times you find that Zambians take long to get involved in something. They would want first to wait for others. They want to see others. Let me see what's joined. Let me see they started cultivating, how is it coming up? But I can assure the Zambians that by the time the cultivation will start, they would have been maybe too late. It will be too late for them to catch up.
Right.
So it's better they come as we are just registering right now. They come as well. They come on board so that we start the journey together. Because we are not going back, and we are moving forward. And the industry, the cultivation begins in October, and before that is the training. So they can't miss out on training.
Right.
This is the best time they can join the association is right now, so that they can be part of the people that to be trained first. And like the agency that touches the web.
Sure.
So if they want to, have an advantage, it's important for them to come early. The Dam Hemp Association has come with the thousands of jobs.
Right. Okay.
For those expected, those that will be the first ones to be trained.
Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Seleta. Enjoy your evening, and thank you so for joining us on News Report.
Thank you. Hopefully to feature in one of your programs very soon.
You're very welcome.
I'm sure by the time we'll have cultivated the
Sure. And you would obviously be showing us the products that you so far have by then.
Yes.
All right.
We'll come and show you some of the products that will be producing from the hemp.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're talking to Mr. Prince Seleta, the Membership Director for Zambia Hemp Growers and Industries Association. So we'll take a break and we'll come back with more stories. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching News Report with me, SALIFYANJI, BWEUPE. And into our next story, the Ministry of Chiefs and Traditional Affairs has disclosed that 7 members of Mwachingwala Royal Establishment have already started frequenting their offices, positioning themselves to succeed the late chief. Speaking during the burial of the late Chief Mangala on Friday, Minister Lawrence Sichadwe noted with dismay that some people actually started coming to his office when the deceased was still bedridden. Sichwala, however, remarked that the government will not participate in selection of another chief in Mwanachingwala chiefdom, as it is not their mandate to do so. He has since called on the royal family in Mwanachingwala chiefdom to exercise necessary wisdom in the selection of a new chief and ensure that there is a peaceful transition. Sichwala further expressed worry with the increase in succession disputes across the country that ensues after the death of a chief. Chief Mwachingwala of Tonga people of Mazabuka district of Southern Province, who died early last week, was put to rest at his palace on Friday, the 24th of July, with a hero's send off. And into international stories, North Korea has put the border city of Kaesong into lockdown, saying its first case of coronavirus may have been brought in from South Korea. Images were broadcast of Kim Jong-un chairing a meeting to announce the measures. State media says the suspected case is a defector who fled to South Korea years ago before returning illegally last week. South Korea says it is investigating the reports. North Korea steadfastly denied having any infections throughout the pandemic, a claim questioned by outside experts. Al Jazeera's Sarah Clark reports from Hong Kong. Take a look at this clip.
North Korea has placed the city of Kaesong under lockdown over concerns of a coronavirus case. Leader Kim Jong-un has declared a state of emergency in the area. The state news agency says a defector who illegally crossed the border from the south has shown symptoms of COVID-19. It's the first time that North Korea has officially reported a suspected coronavirus infection. Well, for more on this, let's go live to Sarah Clark, who's following developments from Hong Kong. Sarah, what more do we know about this Kaesong lockdown?
Well, this person who defected 3 years ago to South Korea, the return date back to North Korea was on July 19, and he's suspected, or he or she is suspected of having COVID-19. Now, the reports don't indicate if he or she has had the official coronavirus test. Instead, the suggestion is that there's been several medical checkups showing respiratory symptoms that are linked to or are similar to those that you have with the coronavirus. Now, if confirmed, as you mentioned, this would be the first case officially acknowledged by North Korea. Now, Kim Jong-un has had the emergency Politburo meeting. He's declared a state of emergency. Also, that border city of Kaesong has been put into a lockdown as a result. He's described it as a critical situation. Now, a report released by the state-run media says it's a dangerous situation in Kaesong that may lead to a deadly and destructive disaster. Now, North Korea has received thousands of testing kits from Russia and other countries. It's also had some pretty strict border closures in recent months, but I believe restrictions have eased of late. Now, the case of this particular defector, the state-run media saying he or she illegally crossed the demarcation line on July 19, and the Politburo meeting that described it in a dialogue as a loose guard performance on the front line on that particular day, and obviously an investigation into the military unit responsible will happen as a result. Now, North Korea is one of the few countries that reportedly has had no cases. Now, of course, analysts, foreign analysts and medical analysts have questioned this zero infection record. But if it does get confirmed that this particular person does have coronavirus, the blame clearly is not being put on the North Korean quarantine restrictions. It's being placed on that defector. And I should say South Korea is yet to respond.
Thank you for that, Sarah Clark, following developments from Hong Kong.
That's a report coming out of South Korea, with South Korea recording the first case of the coronavirus since the breakout of the pandemic. And that item brings us to the end of today's episode of the News Report. Join us again on Thursday with my colleague Kamota Mayondi as we bring to you, news and current affairs as well. So on behalf of the entire production team, my name is SALIFYANJI, and saying good night and God bless.